Good evening, chicos and chocolates. Already the second month of the year, my friends. Oh my God. And a lot is happening today. We got to be happy. Why do we have to be happy in 2026? And you see, I already have the topic right in front of me, right here. And if you're Indian, if you're a EU citizen, if you're an American, these are good times, folks. Because Donald Trump, and I will say this with some evidence behind what I'm saying. Donald Trump is the greatest thing to have happened to free and fair trade in a generation. That's a bold statement. Let me make my case to you tonight, okay? So, today, if you haven't noticed, you probably saw this deal that's happening between the United States and India. They are having a free trade or a trade deal. It's not a free trade deal, it's a trade deal. And what is happening? As you probably know by now, Donald Trump considers himself a tariff king. He goes back to decades old policy of having higher tariffs after Bretton Woods was demolished recently. After he came back to the office the second time around, he doubled down on tariffs. And he renegotiated a lot of different things. Now, people say, no, he put in a lot of tariffs. He increased tariffs in the United States. But overall, the pressure he put by having this whole conversation about tariffs and trade, reciprocal trade, free trade, he put a lot of pressure on all these other parties to negotiate between themselves. Understand this. Last week, India and the European Union concluded a landmark free trade agreement, right? And that took decades to work on, okay? For anyone who knows international business, you know that India is a tariff king. India had a lot of tariffs. A Rolls-Royce that is bought in India is usually twice the price. If it's £500,000 in the UK, it's going to be £1,000,000 by the time you pay all the import taxes, duties, and the surcharges and registration and other taxes. It's over 1 million, okay? When Shah Rukh Khan drives around in his S-Class Guard, okay, that thing costs 2 million because it was built for him specifically in Germany or in the UK. And all these things cost a lot because India had huge amounts of duties on these kind of products. And India and the EU signed a deal, right? A couple of weeks ago, mostly on the 26th, which is 26th of January, which was during the Republic Day celebrations of India. Now, folks, all this happens because of the pressure that one Mr. Donald J. Trump put in this conversation. The reason Donald J. Trump is a modern day kingmaker, and I use these words very carefully, is a modern day kingmaker, is a change maker. He's a paradigm shift, as they say, because he brings to notice these things which were forgotten for decades. This doesn't mean we weren't negotiating all kinds of deals in between each other for years, but at this level, it hasn't been done since a generation because, again, thanks to Donald Trump, the conversation was brought up. And it's not all doom and gloom, folks. Understand this. The American people elected Donald Trump overwhelmingly with the popular vote and the Electoral College, and they put him in power knowing fully well that there would be tariffs, that there would be deportations, there would be attempts to have law and order, and all these other things, okay? This was baked into the cake, folks. So don't act surprised. First of all, don't act surprised when he says, we're going to renegotiate a lot of these deals. And yes, renegotiating these deals have helped India to open up, compromise on a lot of things. And you see, I just use Google search AI mode for some basics to see, okay, if you want to fact check this, that's fine. There's a lot of sources usually in such kind of things. Do your own research and you will see that the India-US trade deal signed active immediate implementation thanks to Mr. Modi, as you can see. What did he say? Out of friendship and respect for Prime Minister Modi, and as per his request, effective immediately, our amazing relationship with India will never be strong going forward. Okay? They may play a tough game for cameras, folks, but these are serious people. Okay? Donald Trump, Modi, Xi, Putin, these are not clowns like the ones you see in Europe. They are able to be strategic. They are able to play the long game. Okay? And what does it do? They slash tariff reduction from 50% to 18% on most goods, 25% penalty for Russian oil removed. India agreed to stop buying Russian oil and buy 500 billion in US energy, tech, agriculture. Now, I'm not so sure how quickly this can happen. And just because you're stopping to buy Russian oil through the petrodollar network, that could be fine because India and Russia already trade in rupees and rubles. 60% of their trade is already in their own currency, and they will use the northern route, or they will just build an oil pipeline. Whatever they do, they will find a way to work with Russia because India is not stupid like that. India knows to balance its friends through transactions, So when tariffs came, when Trump came into power, our friend, Mr. Jaishankar, the foreign minister of India, was calm. Stay calm. Don't have to react. Quieten your mouth and think clearly. Negotiate. This is the time in 2026. The reason why Donald Trump was elected by the American people, knowing fully well that America was losing its hegemonic power for decades, deindustrialization, losing, huge numbers of Americans lost to drug addiction, homelessness. And that problem was getting worse and worse, folks. So America is now reindustrializing. America is now trying to build all kinds of things. Okay. They're attempting to go back to a manufacturing base. They're trying to have the basics with themselves. But you see, they're cutting these important deals with India. And that has happened because there's been pressure globally by Donald Trump to have these conversations. When he says, why is my tariff, okay, why do I have to pay X amount in tariff when I sell to China, but everything that comes in from their side is no tariff or low tariff? So these conversations had to be had, okay? That's what grown-ups do. They renegotiate contracts. It's like we need to do that more often. And which is why Europeans, you did the smart thing by actually trying to, work with India, understanding that, okay, we benefit from them. You see, India and European Free Trade Agreement, also elimination and reduction of 96 to 99% of goods. Average EU on tariff drops from 3.8% to 0.1%. Congratulations. The taco president, like they say, my friend, the one that called the idiot the moron, has changed the globe, the free trade, the whole trade balance of the globe forever. Congratulations. So I commend the Americans for actually voting with your feet, voting with your checkbook, as they say. Congratulations, you're doing well. This is how it should be. You should continue to do that. Okay, continue to engage. Just because Donald Trump is a messenger, folks. Okay, Donald Trump is just the outlet for all the frustrations that were built over a decade. And he happened to be the right person at the right place, and God put him there. And look at this. Are you not overall going to benefit? I mean, come on. Indian mangoes, the world's best mangoes, are about to be cheaper in Europe. Isn't that amazing? Or the best cars in the world, the S-Class. I drive that beautiful thing every day. I'm grateful for that. Thank you, Jesus. But the S-Class, okay, probably is assembled in India too, but a lot of these things become much cheaper. Your products in Europe become much more competitive in India. Your products in India become much more competitive in Europe. What we need as consumers, is good competition. Isn't this a beautiful thing? Does Donald Trump ever get credit for this? Will people ever acknowledge the fact that his pressure, his constant, bringing these topics into light that have driven other countries to do all kinds of deals with him? And look what he's done. I mean, look at it. Key trade deals of Donald Trump 2.0, 2025-26, okay? Reduce fentanyl-related tariffs from 20 to 10%. Agreed to massive soybean purchases. Okay, that's the agreement. UK established a 10% quota for British cars and 0% for UK pharmaceuticals. How good is that? For American bills? For medical bills to come down? Because America is known to be expensive, and certainly in Democrat cities, which are terribly run by terrible management. You see it. The grift in Minnesota and all these places. Look at US-Japan agreement. Set a baseline 15% tariff on nearly all Japanese imports while securing a $500 billion investment commitments from Japan. Congratulations. The one you keep calling Taco President, man, this guy is a moron. This guy cannot do business. Oh my God, the tariff. Oh, what is this tariff? No, no. Donald, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Huh? Why you want to make our champagne so expensive? You're a piece of shit, Donald. That's what they say, but then they cut deals. Everybody cuts deals. And who's better off? You or me? You or me? Congratulations. If you're a European, if you have some sort of Trump derangement syndrome, please be a bit more practical, think clearly, and you will see that overall he's actually a benefit for you and me, you and me. It don't matter what the politicians, they always get rich, okay? It don't matter about Donald Trump if he's got a couple of other golf courses. It doesn't matter if he's got, Secret Service staying at Trump Hotel. It doesn't matter. What matters is these kind of deals because as people like you and me can continue to trade. I, as an Indian, can continue to provide value wherever I am. I'm an IT specialist. I work in IT. I work in hardware, software. That's my profession. I'm providing those services. And Indians, if they have beautiful mangoes, they get to bring it to the EU. If the Europeans have beautiful cut glass and beautiful stones and beautiful fighter jets from France, and they get to sell it to you, India at with less barriers. Who benefits? The consumer, you and I. But they can't wait. They wake up every day and they find to malign the guy. No, spend half your time actually decoding what he's trying to do. Sign deals with Malaysia and Cambodia. Establish frameworks with Thailand and Vietnam to eliminate reduced tariffs on U.S. exports in exchange for lower import duties. Summary of key tariff difference. Luxury cars. Under the EU FTA, tariffs on price, wow, 110% to 10% over 5 years. Congratulations. If you're finna buy a Rolls Royce in India, congratulations. If you're about to buy something really expensive, like one of those MAN trucks or from Germany, you're about to get it cheaper. Isn't that beautiful?